very good day to you all. I am Dr. Larry T. Crudup, the pastor of Mount Moriah Baptist Church of Spartanburg, South Carolina. And I want to welcome you to our Community Conversations series. This series endeavors to provide conversations that inform, inspire, and empower you for success. During this series, we will cover an array of topics. This month, we will converse with my wonderful wife, Jacinta Crudup, as she talks with us about effective communication. I don't know about you, but I know that my communication with my family, friends, co-workers, and yes, even the people that get under my skin can be improved. So stop, watch, and listen as we discuss how to more effectively communicate. We hope that these conversations will help you in some way. Don't forget to like this video, share this video, and comment in the comments section below. Also follow us here on Facebook and on our YouTube page for more soul-feeding content. Enjoy.
And welcome to this session of Community Conversations. We have the pleasure of having Sister JJ, also known as Lady J, also known as the pastor's wife.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so we are here this afternoon, this morning, tonight, whenever you're looking at this episode, to share more information with you in relations to communication. With that being said, Sister Lady J, what would you like to share about yourself?
Well, my name is Jacinta Crudup. I'm affectionately known as JJ. And the name of my business is Lady J Creates, so you kind of get that right there. But I have been an educator since 2011. I've been an educator since 2011, and I have just enjoyed my journey as being a teacher, as being a friend, a confidant, and just making connections with families, with my colleagues, and definitely with the children. So I wanted to share with you things that I have learned along my journey that I believe will be very helpful for the community.
Okay. And community, like I said at the beginning, this is episode number 4. So if you have missed Sister JJ, Lady J, Sister Crudup with the other episodes, we implore you to go back to look at the other 3 episodes. Now, today's episode is Couples, the lifelong communication journey. My first question for you is, why is communication worth fighting for between couples and or spouses?
Well, if you are married, then you have made a commitment to God that you are going to ride this thing until the wheels fall off. Okay. And it's no place to be saying, you know what, I don't need this, I don't have to take this, I can do bad by myself, I need to focus on me and stuff like that. Because we are making this commitment to God, we are trusting that since He knows both of us, you and your spouse, since He knows both of you so well and He's allowing this to happen, that means you're trusting that He can help you handle any situation that you run into. So it is definitely something worth fighting for. As I had mentioned in the previous episode, that we are in a microwave society where we know what we want, we expect it to happen quickly so we can enjoy the instant gratification. But the way God does things is there's a difficult path ahead of you. And once you end up on the other side of that journey, you are able to reap the positive benefits of that journey. The same thing happens if you choose to shy away from or try and cheat that journey, you will reap the negative benefits from it. And so our hope and our goal is that whenever you are choosing to be in this relationship, it is worth fighting for, and you just have to trust the process.
Okay, so the statement, until death do us part.
Till death do us part,
Till
baby.
death do us part. Okay, so why do you consider this particular type of relationship the lifelong communication journey?
Well, We are born into our families, right? We don't get to choose who our parents are, our siblings, none of that. And so you just adjust, right? You adjust to their personalities, and I know God did that on purpose, because if we had our choice, we would choose to be around certain people, right? But God knows that all of us are different, and the best way to expose us to the different personalities that He has put on this earth is to surround you in family. But when it comes to choosing a significant other, that is a choice. That is somebody that you decided that you wanted to be with. Whether it was a common interest that brought you together, whether it was a feeling that brought you together, or whether it was your communication that brought you together. You are choosing to pretty much go through communication training with this person for the rest of your life. Okay, we know the other stuff that happens with couples and stuff like that. However, when all that's dead and gone, you just have your communication, you have your conversation, and so it is a lifelong journey in order to strengthen that, in order to grow closer. Because I don't know about you, but when my husband and I get in an argument, when we see that baby through, we come out on the other side stronger. We come out on the other side just more loving of the other person.
You to answer this for me.
Okay.
What if couples feel like they are beyond communication or don't know how to move forward? Because there are couples out there like, wait a minute, I'm in a standpoint right now. I cannot move forward with this. I disagree with this. This is not working, da 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 da. What would you say to that couple?
So, few things here, right?
Okay.
You need to first assess, because sometimes, again, we're in a microwave society. We see the society has told us what is desirable, what is valuable, and if we feed into that, we just might end up picking the wrong significant other, right? Oh, he's got money, he's got this, he's got that, or she looks beautiful, she's, she gets this many followers, surely she is going to make a great significant other. Or if they're doing what they do in between the sheets, and they're just like, oh, this is it, this is enough. You do have to evaluate why you two are there, and I think that's important. But if you believe that you're together for the right reasons, you started it for the right reasons, then I think, one, it's important to know that going to see a counselor or going to therapy is not my marriage is trash, like my marriage is falling apart.
Right.
It is you saying that I'm willing to fight for my marriage. I find that it is enough, or I'm willing to fight for this person, that I just need some intervention, right? I love this person, I just don't know how to communicate. I remember when my husband and I got together, he's mentioned in sermons that he would chase me, and for 3 years he chased me and all that kind of stuff, which he's not lying, right? But whenever we got married, not that he showed me a different side, but I don't know how it's like for other people, but like whenever you're coming out of your house, you're gonna go meet this person, you're putting on your best self, you're so excited, you want this person to know you look good, smell good, and just offering all the best stuff. But when you get home to your sanctuary, right, you let it go and stuff like that. So here I am knowing I got this puppy dog husband of mine, and after he's worked 3 jobs or whatever, he comes home and he's just sitting on the couch. I'm like, he's not paying me any attention. Like, what is happening here, right? And so I would explain to him sometimes that it feels like I'm talking in circles and he's talking in squares, and that we just cannot seem to figure out the language. And so I believe that comes with time, right? Choosing to be committed to that person and choosing to have that communicating person for life, right? And so if you feel like you're having a hard time trying to figure out where is this going, I don't know what to do, it's okay to seek a counselor. It's okay to seek therapy. And if anything, if you can get ahead of it, treat it like a tune-up, right? You go because you care until you feel like you have something. The most effective thing is to find tools, right? Find the tools that work for you and your spouse. There in Oklahoma, there's a pastor and his wife, Pastor and Dr. Coleman, and they do something called the Love Lab couples, and so it's a retreat for couples every year. And so we try to attend as much as we can. You have fun, you get to listen to these speakers talk about their life. We get to do some fun stuff, and we even had a counselor come on, and he was just saying one of the things he said is one of the things that we as counselors do not enjoy the most is whenever you have a person who keeps it all bottled up, right? Because the other spouse is thinking that everything's okay, and then next thing you know, they're blowing up on them, and they have no idea what's going on, and then, or they don't say anything to their spouse, or or a significant other, and then when they get into the actual session, they're telling the counselor everything and more, and that person's sitting there like, you didn't tell me any of this, right? And sometimes we do that, and I say we because I'm one of those people who kept it bottled up, right? Do that because we know that we have an unbiased ear, right? That you've tried to communicate stuff in a way, but again, you feel like you're speaking in different languages. So I would say, if you think it's beyond repair, assess your situation. Are you in it for the right reasons? If you believe you're on the right reasons, don't believe in that fall in love, out of love type stuff. That emotions are emotions. Those are always going to ebb and flow, right? And they talk about loving somebody is not a feeling, it's an action. It's something that you commit to daily, right? You show your love through your actions. But yes, it's okay to seek somebody out for help. And then again, coming up with those things that work for both of you. I need a minute. Or if you see the pillow flipped over with this, that means we need to talk. Or one of the things we learned from the retreat is if you need to tell your spouse whenever you come in, if you have a busy spouse, let's just say you have a busy spouse, and you come in and they're there and you say, I need to talk to you about something, but it's a 3, which means it's not that urgent, but it is still important, right? If you say, I need to talk to you, it's a 10. That means, hey, whatever you have going on, drop it. We need to talk right now. And for me, that was a little difficult because for me, being more of an emotional person, again, nothing wrong with that. You're more in tune with your feelings. Right. But being more of an emotional person to him, just like, hey, it is what it is, I say what I say and then I'm over and I go, again, the different personalities, but it was difficult for me to say that because I'm like, okay, what if that upsets him? Or what if he, thinks about that last conversation we had, that overthinking, and so that didn't really work for me very well. And so having to assess and find something else, but find something that works for you guys. Show that, show this, you're a significant other that my relationship with you is worth fighting for. So what can we do? What can we do? And as I said in the previous one, apologizing, hey, I know this is not going the way we want it to. Getting, cutting out the mask that we've created, cutting out those defense mechanisms that we've created in order to protect the child inside of us, right? Protect that about us, strip all that away, have that trust, have that vulnerability, and just be like, you feel it too, don't you? I love you, and you know it. But we got to do something because this is worth fighting for. Right. I don't know how to do it, and I'm sorry for all the times that I said things or didn't say things that added to it not working, but I want it to work. What can we do, right? So that's what I would say.
Okay, and when you were talking, it also made me think about Dr. Gary Chapman, if I'm not mistaken, the 5 love languages.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that was another thing. Thank you. Okay. Another thing is, and I believe I put the links on my website that I'll share in a moment. Okay. That you can take personality tests. I think that is a huge underutilized tool in general. I know it's used in companies, in certain companies, to kind of get to know your employees, to see who to put together to work together and all that kind of stuff, who would be good at what job. But I think it's just as valuable to have in the classroom. I think it's just as valuable to have in relationships. It's important to know the type of person that you're dealing with. And, so yes, the 5 love languages, that way you know how to best support your spouse or significant other. I will say, though, it has to be a 2-way street. Right. It can't be one person like, look, I found a solution. Right. This is mine. Take it. What's yours? And they're not really into it. Then it's going to be really difficult to move forward because now you're looking at that person with like this what's the word? I don't know the word, but you're looking at them as if, oh goodness, you can even try. So it's another mark against them, right? So it has to be something that you're both on the same page with. And personality quizzes is what I was going to say. I tried to find a link to one that's free. There are some that will be like, oh, let me give you more personalized information for this amount of money. But if you scroll all the way down, you're like, no, just give me my general results. If I can find one, I'll add that. But I would say take a personality quiz. Figure out what type of person you are. Get to know yourself. Who are you? What traumas do you have? What triggers you? Because that can take out a lot of that language disconnect. Once you realize, okay, because sometimes my husband tells me, you're doing that thing again, right? Not like in a rude way,
Right.
but he's like, I'm familiar, this happening again, and I wouldn't even know what he was talking about. I'm like, what do you mean? And then when I think about it, I'm like, okay. And sometimes I'm a person who needs to write, so I'll forget. So I'm listening to stuff that I want to say stuff to, but I'm trying to work on not cutting him off, and so I have to write just to make sure that, one, I'm saying what I want to say without all the extra, and two, I'm working towards problem solving, right? Because a lot of us, when we're heated in the moment in that red brain, like I was telling you about, the fight, flight, or shut down was my thing, right? You want to make sure that you are focusing on, okay, this is what I wrote down, but what actually needs to be said? What is going to get down to the base of what needs to be said in order to problem solve? And you know, they talk about the don't go to sleep while you're angry situation. I believe in the Bible there are things that are literal and there are things that are figurative. And in that case, I would say it's a figurative thing because there are some things that just cannot be solved right before bedtime, right? Or if you're in the military and you know you're away and your spouse has had this issue, they can't talk to you right before you go to sleep. But that just means, to me, from what I understand, that just means don't just shut it off and be like, okay, I'm pushing this person to the side, or I'm disregarding their feelings, or you know, I'm still going to hold on to that anger and that hate. That means still have the heart and the mind and make the decision to talk about it once you get the chance, as soon as you get the chance. So that's what I would say.
Okay. And I also believe that with our spouses, some of us are more sensitive than the other. So if I'm bringing something to you that is a concern of mine or something that I feel that you need to change, whatever, then maybe I need to tell you 10 positive things and 5 negative things. As far as, so that it's not like, okay, you're just jumping on me. You're just, I mean, all I hear is negative. Okay, well, baby, let me tell you how great you are at this and how great you are at that. But I may have an issue with I don't understand as well, and maybe you can help me understand about this other stuff. And when you were talking about where you resided before and the retreat, see, here at Mount Moriah Baptist Church, we have the couples ministry, and we do retreats here, and it's been going on for over 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, and we have learned how to come together and to communicate. So this is just confirmation all over again as to what we need to be doing as couples. And I greatly appreciate that. And do you have some other resources at this time you would like to share?
I will, but I do want to add to kind of what you were talking about, how you were sharing some examples. One thing I would say to that is, and I think I've said it before, but just checking in with your spouse. So after you said the negative, so tell me how this would work.
Right.
What if I did this? 10 positives to 5 negatives. How do you feel about that? Because again, we may come up with these great ideas. I'm like the queen of coming up with ways to solve problems. And sometimes he doesn't want to have problem solve. He just wants to let it out, right? And that's hard for me, right? But you want to make sure that it makes sense with your spouse. So one of the things that I did, and I think I've been doing it for almost 2 years now. It's called Man Crush Monday. On Facebook almost every Monday, I would say something positive about my husband. I might post a picture, great. I might brag on him, I might share his video or say something like, do something like that, just to highlight who he is, right? And how much he means to me. Something else though that is difficult, I will say, is if there is something that your spouse does or your significant other does that you do not like, it's important to make sure that you are aware when they're not doing it, because it's those things that will cut a significant other down, because they're like, you told me what you didn't like, I stopped doing it, and what, in 2 or 3 months I have a slip. They're going to start feeling, and you start getting on me about it. I feel like what I've done was for nothing. And those are the ones that go under the radar the most and start to ruminate and leave a bad taste in spouses, because it's easy that if somebody's not doing something, so if I said, you never open my door, I want you to open my door, it just makes me feel like you care about me. Because I see them opening the door, I know that he's doing it. But if it's something that he's doing and I want him to stop, because life is happening, I'm not paying attention to how many times or how often he is he's trying to fix what it is I need him to fix. So I would just put that tidbit out there.
Okay.
So some scriptures I wanted to share, like I did in the other 3 episodes. I have Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So in other words, give your spouse, give your significant other grace, right? Yes, they are going to do things, especially men and women. We are pretty different, right? In how we look at things, how we react to things. And our personalities have a lot to play in that as well. But just remember, they're working on it. I know that one thing is going to frustrate you, because there's always going to be at least one thing that is just going to stay with them for the rest of life, because they're not perfect, right? So just remember to give that grace, because you are given that grace, right? Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. It's so true, right? Again, know your trauma, know your triggers, because if your spouse doesn't know them and they touch on that, you're not going to be in any position to say life, to speak life, right, in this moment. There are times where with my husband, we could be in a heated conversation, and right in that conversation with my brows like this, I could say, you're like really smart. Like I could say something like that, and he knows that I'm not playing. He knows I'm not playing, because I want him, he knows how my brain does like this. So I'm in that with you, but I heard what you said, and so I'm thinking about this, so I got to say it, right? But that's just getting to know your spouse. But yes, it's important to know that your tongue has power. It's important to know that what you say carries weight. If you've heard about that analogy about nailing nails in a fence and then taking them out, or balling up a piece of paper and undoing it, the nail going into the fence and the paper being balled is like saying and doing negative actions towards somebody. And uncurling it or taking out the nail is like apologizing. But the scar is going to be there, right? So again, we're not perfect. We're going to say what we say. We've all had some type of trauma in our lives, but our goal is to have less of those moments, less nails. So yes, and I think the Matthew 18:15-16. If your brother sins against you, go and tell him. So yes, you're not real brothers and sisters, but brothers in Christ, so to speak. This goes back to the counseling. If there is some issue, you guys just cannot figure it out, go get some help. It could be a Christian, a Christian counselor, or it could be your pastor or the deacon or the elder that's assigned to, your group. But it's okay. Like we're not. I understand why, but we're no longer in the age where we feel like we have to keep our family secrets to ourselves. There's just too many resources and too many people who want to see the community succeed. And I remember whenever we were going to counseling, the guy who was doing it, he was just like, I'm not even going to charge you, because the work that you guys have to do, you are serving the community. So I have to make sure that you guys are on the right track and taken care of, so that you can continue to serve this community. So I have to serve you in order for you to serve the community. And so there are people who want to come and help. And we just have to, if we're having a hard time trying to figure that out, we got circle, squares, circle, squares, circle, squares, it's just following, nothing's happening, then go and get some help.
Okay. All right.
Not supposed to share. Okay, so LadyJCreates.com is my website. Under the community tab, You can find either a link or you'll find the actual calendars. There's one that is dedicated to scriptures, one scripture a day for each day in the month of June. If you're behind, that's okay. Just double up or just start where you are. It's fine. The goal is that we're kind of all reading together, and we're all, building up the same hope, so that when we leave our households, or even when we wake up in the morning and we're surrounded by the people in our lives that we love and we care about, we have communication and the power of it on our minds. And then the second calendar has QR codes on each day, just full of powerful resources and information. Wonderful people, content creators, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, who want to share the power of communication as well, who want us to know that there's a different way to do things and a positive way to do things. And then I also have some QR codes on there that has national and local resources, websites. I have some that are also linked to conscious discipline, which is the training that I've had I've had to personally deal with, and then in turn being able to carry it over in my classroom, which is why I just think it's so important for schools to have this going on as well. So I hope that you take a look. I hope you find something useful, and thank you for having me.
Well, we are so glad that you have been here with us to share all of your knowledge in reference to communication. And what I want to repeat to the community is, she has been speaking on the power of communication. It's worth fighting for. If you have missed any of the episodes, you still have time to go back and to view them. The first one she did was on parenting with social and emotional learning in mind, SEL. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Children, advocating for your children, communicational health, adult to adult, helping versus hurting growth. And also today, couples, the lifelong communication journey. And guess what? To my boo, we are gonna have, what is it called on Mondays?
Men
Crush Monday. Okay, thank you again, community, for joining us. And this has been 4 episodes with Sister Lady J on community conversations and communication. Thank you so much. It's such a blessing to have you here.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed myself, and I'm just so happy to be here. I hope it helps somebody.
Yes, I do believe you have. You've helped me, so I know you've helped others as well. Okay, thank you so much for joining us.
We hope that this community conversation has been informative, inspiring, and empowering. If it has, we ask that you please like, share, and comment on this video. We also invite you to like and follow our Facebook and YouTube channels for more soul-feeding content. We'll see you next time for our community conversation.